We have gathered herbs from the herb garden, and now we're going to talk about freezing them.
Yes.
So how do we freeze herbs?
Well, there's several ways to freeze them. First is to flash freeze.
All right.
And that's where you take some herbs. It depends on what you're using and what you're using them for. You set them on a tray, just flat, nothing fancy, and you put them in the freezer, just like this. When they're frozen, which could take anywhere from several hours to 24, then when they're frozen, you take them out of the freezer and you put them in a bag. Now they can be all the same herb or they can be a mix of herbs. It depends on what you want. And once you put these in the bag, you got to get all of the air out and seal it in your zip freezer bag, and then label it. Like, say this has got a mixer of stuff that I want for poultry, but I put herbs 23 and poultry on it, so that when I can just pull out all of them at once and don't have to get into separate bags.
I got you. Okay.
So that's one way to do it.
Okay.
Another way is to simply prepare them by taking sections of them so they can fit in an ice cube tray.
Okay. And what herb is that?
This is parsley.
It smells so good.
And here's some curly parsley. We'll put some curly parsley with this one.
Okay.
And then we've got some mint, nice mint. And we can put, when we get these done, we've got a little bit of thyme here. Thyme.
Oh, those plants look very nice.
And rosemary. And when you put them in the ice cube trays, whichever way you freeze them, put them in the size that you want to use them. Like if you want a whole sprig, put a whole sprig in. If you want them chopped up, then chop them up fine. Like the chives. Say I want just a bunch of little choppy chives. Just, chop them up the way you want them, the size that you want to use before you freeze it. Okay. And I have started some.
How about that?
And this is one I put with water. And what I did was, since they float in water, I put water halfway up with the herbs in. You'll set the herbs inside like this. Then you can place water in there and they'll float. So you only put a little bit of water in, you put them in the freezer, then you pour another layer of water over the top of them so they're encased. And sometimes they float up, but then you'll take these out of the container and you'll put them in a bag just like you did before.
How about that?
And seal them up. And you'll have to, if you need a recipe that has a lot of water in it, you can just put this in there. Otherwise, you can melt the water and then just have the fresh herbs.
Okay.
And some people will put olive oil on them. And then they freeze the olive oil. We'll see if we can get these out of here. May have melted just a little bit. Oh yeah, they've melted.
They melted in there?
They've started melting. But anyway, you have your herbs in your olive oil already, and some people just put that in the pan, and then they start cooking with it.
Right.
But the idea is you take these out once they're frozen, good and frozen, and then you seal them up in a bag just like you do the ice cubes.
Okay.
And label it, of course, what it is, and you can just take one cube out and use it as you need it.
That is so neat. Okay, it's the first time I've seen that. Thank you, Joellen. We appreciate that demonstration. Freezing herbs, how about that?
Freezing herbs.
Thank you much. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please click the subscribe button below.